our Safe Place services. You all have seen this yellow sign around, like doors and stuff. We're part of the same program. They're basically a shelter house for youth, emergencies going on in their personal life. And we're in the same building as them, but we do a mentoring program, and it's a 10-month mentoring program for youth with incarcerated parents, ages 11 through 15. And we get about 30 per class. So we need a mentor for each one, typically 30 mentors, or around usually 20, 30 mentors per group. We have a fall and a spring class, so the next class that's starting is going to be in the spring. It's going to start in April. And yeah, you're going to make, if you want to mentor, we have other volunteer opportunities besides mentoring, but if you're going to want to mentor, you're going to have to commit to the program for 10 months. We have 1 day of training. We do 2 background checks. We pay for everything in the program, so you're not paying for background checks or anything. Once you're in the program, been through the training and everything, you're going to have to attend retreat. It's a 3-day retreat. Mentors only have to spend 2 days there, so it's a Saturday and Sunday. This retreat's going to be April 12th through the 14th. It's in Henryville, Indiana at Country Lake Retreat Center. And yeah, that's basically the retreat is like a time where we're forming the community. All these kids haven't met each other. The mentors haven't met each other, so we're just spending the weekend doing like low ropes courses, zip lining, a bunch of group talks, and basically just getting to know each other and letting the kids know that it's a safe place to talk, to open up. You know, a lot of the kids haven't been around other kids that have youth that haven't been around kids with incarcerated parents, so they're shy to talk about that topic. And it just gives them a place where they can open up and be themselves. After retreat, like I said, it's a 10-month mentoring program, so that's when we are forming the community. We do a lot of stuff that weekend, but after the retreat is the main mentoring part of the program. So mentors are gonna meet up with them and have one phone conversation weekly. So typically, it's like Monday, you're gonna call or text your mentee and see how school's going, see how things are going at home. And then you're gonna set up a time where you're gonna pick them up, because mentors are responsible for transportation in this program. So you're gonna go to their house, pick them up, and then you're gonna go out in the community and do something. So you go to a park, you can go to a movie, you can go to some. We have a list of free events around town that our case managers will send to people. And there's no meet-up time required. It's just seeing them, talking to them, and taking them back home. But on top of that, we have group meetings led by a case manager. The group meetings are about two Thursdays a month, and they're on Thursdays from 6 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. And so for a meeting, you're going to go pick them up, get there at Safe Place by 6. If you all don't know, Safe Place is located 2400 Crittenden Drive, right there by that Denny's on Eastern Parkway. So we're going to get there at 6, we'll have dinner, and at 6:30 we'll go downstairs. For the next 2 hours we're going to have a meeting led by a case manager, and the topics are like grief and loss, social media safety, how to argue, stuff like that. Stuff that the case manager, program director thinks will benefit the kids. And mentors and mentees are all participating in this. And the group meetings count as a makeup for that week. Alright, so this is more about the retreat. Like I said, there's other ways to volunteer in YNOW. Mentors have to be there from Saturday until Sunday. We encourage them to come Friday, because on Friday we open up the floor for the kids to talk, and sometimes they will get up there and say some pretty powerful stories of their lives. And if that's going to be your mentee, then it's probably good that you're there and you get to know more about your mentee, because sometimes it takes a while for them to open up to you. So getting to know them right off the bat is really good. But like I said, you just go there Saturday and Sunday. We go from Friday morning. The kids are excused from school, so they get there about 8 o'clock. We get on the bus around 11, and then we're at the retreat until Sunday afternoon. It's an overnight retreat. We have 2 cabins, and then the mentors and staff are supervising during the retreat. Here's some info if you want to take it down, take a picture or something. Here's my email if you want to take a picture of that, tportale@ymcalouisville.org. You can just send me an email and I can get you signed up for the program. To sign up, you'll just have to come to my office, and I have about 5 to 7 pages of paperwork they're going to have to fill out. It takes about 30 minutes. I'll make a copy of your ID and your auto insurance, and then I'll get the background checks done, and then the next time we'll meet up is for training, which is going to be Saturday, March 30th. It's at Safe Place from 9:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. If you're going to be mentor, you're going to be there the whole time. If you're just going to volunteer for a retreat, so you can not do the 10-month mentoring program, you can just come and volunteer for a retreat, either partial or full weekend. Partial weekend, you'll be leaving Saturday afternoon. Full weekend, you're there Friday until Sunday afternoon. Here are the dates for the retreat, April 12th to the 14th, and then where it is. I can also send you this through email, but there's a schedule. So for the spring class, you can see it goes from Thursday, April 25th, and the graduation's January 23rd. It's a typical middle school graduation. We give all the kids an award, let them speak. If they want to stand up there and talk about the YMCA program. And yeah, that's basically the structure of the program. I'm about to play a video. It's a few years old, but I think it does a good job of explaining how the program helps.
One in 10 children has a neuroannounce. 1 in 10. They do not have to follow in those footsteps. They do not have to continue that cycle. They just need the encouragement to know that there's something else possible.
A child, incarcerated parent, has a much higher coming back to themselves. And this program, I believe, is extremely successful in training them now. And maybe this being the one factor that saves that kid.
Well, to be honest, I got used to it. But knowing that he's not going to show up for another decade or more, it makes me think about the future and playing football and stuff and not being there. The first time I went to one of my friend's house for a sleepover, went and they had both parents at home, and they asked me about my dad, and I told them I had to tell them that he was in jail, and I felt scared of what they was going to think, but it ended up that they was there for me.
YNOW is a one-on-one mentoring program for young people who have a parent incarcerated, at least one parent incarcerated. The youth are 11 to 15, and I think one of the things that makes us unique is that as much as they get from a one-on-one mentor, and they get a whole lot from an adult mentor being involved in their lives, they also get to meet 30 other youth who have the same thing in common that has, for most of them, not been something that they've talked about before.
My first involvement in YMCA was a camp. The whole thing is to try to develop a community. Me being new, it was definitely a challenge to take the kids from their environments, got me coming from my environment. I do not like camping, so it was all like, oh, what did I get myself into? But the night that we started sharing, the youth started sharing what was going on in their life, I think nobody in the room had a drive they share their dreams. And I think this is the first time they've ever really shared their dreams and what they want to be in life or even thought about it. And so it's just that. We leave, we truly work community. We were starting that process of growing closer together. And just warmed my heart. I had to stay with you.
'Cause I always knew how to express my feelings, I just didn't. So knowing that I could, it felt great because, and empowering, because knowing that I can open up to everybody and not feel ashamed.
They haven't done anything. Parents made a mistake, but the youth have been punished for that mistake. We gather them and bring them here. And basically, we show them love, we listen to them, and we encourage them.
Well, this program is designed ultimately to break a cycle. A cycle that is growing by leaps and bounds. And I think it's important for these youth especially to recognize how to forgive, how to live with maybe a parent or someone that you love who may not love you exactly the way that you would like them to, and how to be the adult that you're capable of being.
She taught me how to believe in myself when no one else would. It taught me that I could be a leader, because at first I didn't really think I was too much of anything, much less a leader.
With time commitment, I knew it would be great. And they shared their hearts with you. And when you just greet them at each meeting and they look forward to that greeting, you know that that's all they really want is for somebody to love them, somebody to listen to them, somebody to offer them.
We celebrate graduation because I don't think in life, even for adults, that there are very many things that we can point to and say, I signed up for that for a year. There were times I didn't like it, there were times I did like it, it didn't matter. I stuck with it for a year. And so we celebrate their graduation because they have learned how to keep their word.
I have 3 people to thank. One is my mother, one is my grandmother, and one is my mentor. I have to thank my mother for giving me that voice. I have to thank my grandmother for giving me the instructions to use that voice. And I have to thank Miss Yana for telling me that my voice was important enough to be heard.
I can't imagine a population more worthy of your time or your investment, or more appreciative of it. A better return on investment, I don't think can be had, because they can do it. These young people aren't incarcerated yet, and need our help and support to make sure that never happens.
My message would be to believe in yourself, because when no one has you, or you believe that no one has you, this place has you. And if I so happen to meet you, so I have you, and that's what matters.
Success is like the small goals that I achieved that lead up to the big goals. You're not wasting your time or money at all. You're helping a young person stay out of jail.
So the program's been going on for 16 years, and we're proud to say that 90% of our graduates have remained out of the criminal justice system, so we're doing good numbers. Our program's really known for like youth advocates around town. It's a great program, and we actually have 2 mentors in the room, Daniel and Richard. I'm gonna have Richard come up here and talk about his experience with the program. So yeah, after that, if you want to ask me or Richard or Daniel any questions, just ask away.
Thanks. I'm Richard Griffin, new to Humana as an associate just as of last week, actually, so brand new. and really proud to talk about this program today. So yeah, if you have a father or mother that's incarcerated, I think the statistics are around 5 to 6 times more likely that that's where you're going. Especially if you have a father who's incarcerated and you're a young man, and that's the example that you're seeing, that's a pattern that you're seeing. It's a very difficult one to break, but 90% of the youth that go through the YMCA program are not going to jail. So to me, that's an incredible success rate, and I worked with other type of charitable programs and things, and you know, a lot of times you do stuff and you think, well, I hope it works, you know, that would be really great if this works out. But there's a proven track record here of what this program does and what it offers. So I've been mentoring, this is my 2nd year. I think Daniel's actually probably his 4th year, more experience than me, but this is my 2nd year. I was working for a different company when I started, and I didn't have time for this program, but I worked it out, you know. And that was the first thing that someone asked me when I told them I was going to volunteer for this and everything that was involved. They said, Richard, do you have time to do this? And I said, no, absolutely, I don't. But I'm going to do it. So you work your schedule, you change your schedule for things that are important to you. I can say that last year mentoring was a lot tougher for me than this year has been, just because of circumstances, but I wouldn't have not done it. I wouldn't trade 1 minute of it. Actually, this year's wrapping up for us. Our graduation will be in January for the class that we have right now. You know, it just is an incredible experience. It's one of those things that just really adds something to your life. It changes your perspective on things. You know, I was talking the other night at our Mentors Only meeting. I used to watch TV, and you see the news reports about you know, killings and shootings and murders and things that are going on in town. And I always thought to myself, well, that's those people over there. That's that part of town, or that's, you know, that particular demographic, and that doesn't bother me. That doesn't, you know, I'm sorry that happens, but, you know, it wasn't something that I considered too much in my life, because I kind of lived in my little bubble, you know, and that wasn't in my bubble, so I wasn't too worried about it. But now when I see news reports like that, I always immediately think about my mentee, where he lives, and how far away is that from him, and I want to know the street number, you know, where the shooting occurred, because I want to know if, you know, if that in any way put him in danger. I just see the world a little bit more differently. You know, we talk a lot about, you know, diversity and inclusion and all those things, and you know, we all try to be correct in that manner, but this really pulls you into another world, and it pulls another world into your life. And if you've ever considered doing any type of volunteer work or mentoring, this would be a great program. You really just plug into it. You don't have to pay for anything. And one thing worth mentioning that wasn't mentioned was they constantly feed you. So, you know, if you go to a meeting, there will be food there. They have a sort of a service there at Safe Place. So, you know, a lot of times if we're going to group meetings, I leave here and I have time to go pick up the youth that I work with, and you get there and dinner's ready. It's always actually pretty good. So, you know, everything you just plug into it. You don't have to build the program. You don't have to write the curriculum. You know, I mean, you just, they have it all set up for you as a mentor, and the staff will support you, and you just kind of plug in and fulfill your role as a mentor. It's a 10-month commitment. After that, it's kind of up to you if that relationship continues for you and that young person and their family. Some people, I know mentors that after 1 year they stop because they wanted to just work with that youth from now on, and they've done that and worked with them throughout their life. For some people, you know, 10 months, that's it, and you kind of lose contact. And but it has a really, really positive effect. You can see it, you know, these kids are at an age where they haven't made their mind up. And what you're doing as a mentor is you're stepping into their life, and you're kind of saying, hey, before you make your mind up, before you follow a pattern, before you take the examples that are being given to you, just want to let you know there is something else. And that's really what you do. I mean, you just, you know, I always have felt vastly underqualified to be in the program. I remember the first year they appointed me as youth, and I thought it would be very challenging. And I said, look, I don't have any sociology degrees. I'm not a trained, you know, child psychologist or anything like that. And they said, well, Richard, can you show up? Can you show up? And I said, yeah, I'm pretty good at that. So, you know, I call and I'll say, I'll call his mom and I'll say, I'm gonna call at 7:30, is that okay? And I call at 7:30. I tell him I'm gonna be there at 5:30 to pick him up, I pick him up at 5:30 because they need to see that. They need to have somebody in their life that really represents that stability and that is making and keeping promises with them. So if you have questions and you want, yeah, please.
Good job, by the way, good work you're all doing. What was your inspiration that led you to volunteer?
I was overworked and working on my first heart attack myself at a previous company, and I wanted to do something else. I wanted something that would sort of distract me from a lot of stress and things, and something that I would feel really positive about. I had worked in literacy programs and things in the past, but I'd let work kind of crowd out everything else, and I just wanted to do something other than work 24 hours a day, and that really was. And then there was a person that had retired from our company that was, I think, on the board of YNOW, and I looked him up and talked to him before I volunteered. He had been a mentor, and when I talked to him, after several years of working with the program, he was still extremely positive about it. And I think after those conversations, then, for me, it was a stress reducer. I could go and think about something else besides work, do something else besides work, and then all the rest of it came along. Just adds a lot of positivity to your life. It's something that you do. I could go take up golf and be terrible at it, but I wanted to do something that I felt like was helping someone else. That was rewarding. Any other questions for?
They match up young men with men mentors, or sometimes with women mentors. How does that work?
As a rule, they will only appoint men or young men. Sometimes they'll have a woman that works with a young man on a few occasions. If they don't have enough male mentors, they never have a man with a young woman. And there's a lot of strict controls around everything that we do. For instance, you never take the youth to a private place. You never take the youth to your home. There's no overnight stuff or anything like that. So it's very, very restricted. We have a lot of rules that we go by, and they have a caseworker that's working with them all the time. So they're constantly in contact with them and with their caregivers. So there's a constant, monitoring of what's going on. But to your question, yeah, they do sometimes in our class. We have a few ladies that are working with young men.
What's the ratio of need between the kids and the mentors? Are there more mentors than kids? Are there more kids than mentors? How does that work? How's supply been?
So there's always kids that need to be in the program. Kentucky is like the 7th most incarcerated state in the country, so we're like incarcerated more than every other country in the world. So we always have kids. We need mentors, really, that's our biggest need. We have like referral programs that go into the schools, it's like an in-school thing, and then they'll go out of that program into ours. Like demographic-wise, it's mostly like, we're 11 through 15, so it's mostly younger kids. 15-year-olds don't really want to do the program. They're volunteering to be in the program, they're not being forced into it by schools or counselor, courts or anything. So all the kids in the program make a commitment, they say it out loud, they have like a little statement they read before they get in the program. But yeah.
Question might be for you. On average, how many hours do you spend per week, per month volunteering?
For myself personally, it's probably 3 to 5 hours, averaging over the entire 10-month time. Most of it is on the weeks that you don't have group meetings, and you're going to call them once, which I don't know if it's just because we're guys, but our phone calls don't last very long. There's a lot of house going on, okay, but then we'll meet, that week as well, and that's usually a couple of hours. That can just be, sometimes it's going to McDonald's. As a part of the program, you get free passes for you and your youth to the YMCA, so you can go to the YMCA, which we did that quite a bit last year. There are a few Saturday events that are like 5 to 6 hours. Like we have a water park family day in the summertime. There's a family holiday meal that we'll do on a Saturday. So there's maybe 3 or 4 Saturdays outside of just the retreat. But I would say, you're looking at 2 to 5 hours a week of a commitment.